Hello, friends. I'm Maria Rothenberger from the Miracles Happen Fertility Center, and this is week 41 of the Compassion series in the year 2020. This is being recorded and published on election week, and I feel like this week's compassion quote is appropriate because of all of the writings of fearful people on the internet, and gosh, even in my office this week, I feel like this might be appropriate. The theme this week is actually called The Power of Generosity, and how that ties into this election week, I'll get to. Okay, the quote is by the Buddha. If you knew, as I did, the power of giving, you would not let a single meal pass without sharing something. And by the way, the quote is coming from this book, A Year of Living with More Compassion. And this is 52 quotes. We are on the 41st quote. We are in the home stretch here. So the Buddha, what is the Buddha talking about here? The Buddha is talking about the power of giving. And I'm going to tie that to election week in a second here. What they've written about here, and the quote was chosen by a woman by the name of Sharon Salzberg. She's a big name in the mindfulness community and compassion. And she talks about a time when she was in India and Burma. And she says, I was the recipient of incredible generosity from many people who had very little materially to offer. It goes on to say, if we cannot offer something material, we can give energetically, a smile, or our full, undistracted attention, like the sirens outside my window are asking for right now. How is this particular thing tied to the election this week? Bye-bye, sirens. Oh, life still happens, doesn't it? Life carries on, even though we are dealing with our struggles. How do I tie generosity to this week, the U.S. election for the presidential election for 2020? Generosity. What I've been reading a lot from fellow loved ones, fellow folks in my political party, is a lot of fear, and people outside of my political party. There's a lot of fear and a lot of, oh my gosh, hatred, even things that are being said that are hurtful, both from both sides. And the messages that I've been putting out, particularly this morning, have been about how divisive our country actually is. People are talking about, here's an example. 2 people have commented that they cannot believe that after all that our president has done, that there are as many people voting for him as there are. Because right as I'm recording this, it is a very, very, very tight freaking race. And my response has been, this only serves to spark interest in me and the fact that we are so divided, and we need to start listening to each other. We need to start listening to the other side, because there is no other side. We are all one. Open up your ears and listen to the other side as if you were listening to yourself. And that's what I like about this. When Sharon says, if we cannot offer something material, we can give energetically, like a smile or our full, undistracted attention. When you give somebody your full, undistracted attention, it is such a gift. Think about what it feels like when you receive someone's full, undistracted attention. If you want to give a point across and somebody is actually listening to you and attempting to understand where you're coming from, there is almost, to me, almost nothing more valuable and more giving and more compassionate than that. So, food for thought for you. along these or around these difficult times, especially in the US. All right, the compassion practice for this week by Sharon Salzberg says, this is a practice that helps cultivate generosity through awareness. If a strong impulse to give something arises in your mind and it won't cause any harm, like giving away your family's rent money, then make the offering. Stay aware of what is arising in your mind, especially if the next 50 thoughts following the intention to give are fearful. Like, maybe I'll wear it next year. Maybe I'll read it after all. What if they think I'm stupid for doing this? Let the thoughts go as you remember your motivation. And remember that generosity is actually a practice, one that implies intentionality, challenges, and venturing into new terrain. Stay aware of your thoughts and feelings after the act of generosity. Are you in fact regretful, relieved, buoyant? Let your insights guide your ongoing practice of generosity. I recently read something about, again, our political climate from someone who's very opposite of my views. And hearing what he had to say really opened my eyes to how he comes to his conclusions. I still disagree with him, but there's an understanding and a softening to his beliefs and the way that he thinks about things. There's no divisiveness there. There's togetherness there. And that's very different than throwing out hurtful words, hurtful comments, and a complete lack of love and compassion. Let's attempt to do the opposite. I will see you next week.